From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan, and I'm a liar, and I feel terrible about it. Can I rectify it, Corey? May I go ahead and do it right now? Give me the thumbs up.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead and do it.
Let's play a phone call.
Hey, it's Sevy from Nashville, heading down to Tally this weekend to see LeBourne and the boys lampoon Louisville. Does any population enjoy correcting you on the pronunciation of their city more than someone from Louisville likes to tell you it's pronounced Louisville? Perhaps Boise? Curious to hear your thoughts.
You did disappoint. I was supposed to take a phone call on Tuesday. I didn't do it.
Is it Boise?
Boise.
It's not Boise, is it really?
It's Boise. Yeah, like it's a C, not a Z. It's more of a C than
It's not like Boy Z, like my boy Z.
Right. It's like
Well, again,
Charlie.
that's pretty ridiculous.
Boise. Yeah.
It's Boise. It's
Wow.
Boise, sorry. That's how it's spelled, Boise.
I wonder if
And
they're-
Louisville is what is Louisville? Because I say it wrong, right? I'm saying it wrong right now.
Well, no, yeah, you're good as long as you don't say Louisville. I mean, I think some folks say like Louisville, like it's full.
Ooh, like it's like something caught in their throat.
Right. Yeah. I tried to do that when I was in Mississippi when I would pronounce Starkville. You know, I tried to sound like I was cool. Like, because like Reese Davis says program. You know, he doesn't say that Nick Saban and the Alabama program is rolling. He's like the program because he's from Alabama. So I tried to camouflage and be a chameleon and say Starkville. But people are like, Aslan, you can say Starkville. It's fine. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
right. Well, that's good.
Again, as always, this show provided to you or brought to you by, powered to you by the good folks at Zaxby's, indescribably good. I don't know if they go to Idaho for their potatoes, but whoever it is, they got the best crinkle fries in the game because they season them too, which I really appreciated Saturday before the Virginia game. It put me in a good mood. The Virginia game maybe didn't carry over my dinner, but I'll have a celebratory Sunday lunch because I can at Zaxby's, and I will enjoy it, Corey. We got so many questions to go to, Corey, and usually we spend like 10 minutes talking about what was said at practice. I'm not even about that any longer. So let's just go ahead. Let's get on the ponies, and let's begin the Renegade Express, brought to you by First Commerce Financial. With interest rates nearing historic low levels again, now is the perfect time to review your current mortgage. First Commerce Financial will make this easy for you. You can text them a picture of your current statement, and they will help determine if it makes sense to lower your rate, lower your term, or consolidate debt. If you do not need to do anything, they will help you validate that you're in a great spot. First Commerce Financial is a pure mortgage broker who provides transparent mortgage solutions to help you grow your overall net worth. No matter what part of Florida you call home, call 248-207-2404, and Kirk and his team will provide 5-star level service if you're purchasing or refinancing your home. Mention you heard them on War Chant. You can also visit them on the web at www.firstcommercefinancial.com. Corey, with that said,
You crushed that, by the way.
you're so nice, man.
You crushed it. And can I apologize to the listeners that I'm on the phone? I want normally when I'm up here in the great state of Georgia to do the show, I have a headset, a really nice one, or a really nice microphone that Gene Williams bought me. Well, I broke the microphone, and then the headset, which is usually the second option, that's the fallback, I left that in Tallahassee. So we tried another microphone that I have, and it sounded horrific, a lot worse than this. So I would just like to apologize to you, dear listener, that I have to do this over the phone. Hopefully next week that will be squared away.
Corey Clark at 60% still better than Corey Clark at, no Corey Clark, right? That's what I say.
Certainly better than Corey Clark at 50%.
Touche.
I thought that's what you were about to say.
Noel128, did anyone ever think that they would sincerely miss Charles Kelly? At least he showed some dadgum fight and aggression. This team is in desperate need of some leaders. Barnett and Willie are not capable. Who do you think can fill that void until we get rid of them? Oh, I should have probably started this off as the show that we're going to actually maybe skip over some questions. Again, I think
I don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah, Noel128, I appreciate your angst, truly. In moments like this, I know people want to be optimistic, but I just can't understand like the forced optimism. You people are better than I am. I'm not trying to down you folks. I'm just saying my brain, I'm not wired that way. He's not leaving, so just you kind of have to come to grips with that. Again, the theory for me, Levitt will get promoted at the end of this year, so there's your new leader perhaps on the defense. No matter what happens with Kendall, if he leaves, if he stays, you're going to be good on offense, and if not, you've committed 7 figures to an offensive coordinator, so you'll probably follow course. And then you'll be better in 2020, and then it sets the stage for 2021, and then at that point you hope that there's something really cool going on here. And if there's not, then you start over just like every other major program has had to do before us.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, the chances of both of them being back are very slim. I think, but Harlan Barnett, I can't envision a scenario with as bad as this defense is currently, unless they make a huge strides, that he will be back. And there's a pretty decent chance that he won't maybe even last the season. So, but I don't, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know I know they released Levitt's contract and it's $80,000 until August of next year. Isn't that right?
I think so.
I just don't know the machinations of if they fired Barnett, how easy it is to promote him. Didn't Alabama do that before one of their championship games?
The one that they lost to Clemson, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, Lane.
Yeah,
Lane
which one, buddy?
The
They're losing to Clemson all the time these days.
Yeah. So Lane took the job. Nick's like, I don't want you coaching. I don't want to Mark Richt.
Right.
So beat it.
So you can do that then. There's obviously been a precedent where a quality control guy or a off-the-field coach, assistant, whatever you want to call them, can be promoted to that job. So, again, I think that's what we're waiting on. The biggest change that will happen, certainly before late November, will be Harlan Barnett perhaps out of a job if things don't get better.
Yeah. Well, I
think that can happen mid-season.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose.
I'm not predicting it. I'm not hoping it happens, but there's a chance.
Maybe because at that point they'll want to go full steam ahead with Levitt and see what they have, and then maybe so if this thing does go 3-9, 4-8, and the defense still doesn't look good, and Levitt's had 4 games to call it, maybe at that point they decide not to follow my theory and let this thing ride on out until 2021. But again, I don't see it working out that way. It was interesting, I thought, the way that I think Harlan was asked about Jim Levitt during the Wednesday availability. And like it was kind of funny to hear him say, like, I really actually like the guy because I think he realizes that everybody realizes that he's got to kind of work hand in hand with a guy who likely is here to take his job. So tough situation. He's such a good dude, man. He really is. It's a very awkward situation for him, I'm sure, but he's a pro. Hopefully it works out. And I don't know, man. Maybe he stays as co-defensive coordinator in name only and just focuses on the back end, So.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, maybe they do that. Maybe they don't fire him. They just kind of demote him from defensive coordinator to co-defensive coordinator, from defensive coordinator to DB's coach, whatever they want to do, and they keep him on staff so they're just not wasting that money. Yeah, that's, he might resign at that point, which I guess if you resign, maybe you forfeit that money. I don't know how that works. I assume you might. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but, I think I just think there's a real good chance by the Clemson game or immediately after the defensive staff will have a shakeup.
Wow. All right, there you go. You heard it there. B. Steiner 36. It's time to wake up from this disappointing start to FSU football. I keep hearing that we should be excited that even though we lost, we look better. Is this really the expectations we should have in a Florida State football team? I hate that we have somehow been beaten. I can't even read this. I'm sorry, B. Steiner. Basically, participation trophy mentality. How did this happen? Do you think we can be a top 25 team in the next 3 years?
Absolutely. I mean, Virginia's a top 25 team. I don't look at that Virginia team and be like, wow, it's going to take forever to Florida State to get there. Heck, Florida State is there. Like, I wasn't overwhelmed. I thought Florida State probably had more talent, or certainly has more talent than Virginia. Yeah, man, I think they can get there. I think, it's not one or two little things that have a program like Florida State in disarray. There was a lot of things. They've been talked about. It is odd. I get it. I don't think anybody thinks that I hope anyway that you don't get that listeners don't get the impression from us that you should be excited because they played pretty well against Virginia. I'm certainly not excited. I don't feel it in my voice. Maybe encouraged is a better word because it's been so bad now for 2 calendar years. It's been so bad that, especially last year, coming off last year, and they got blown out in almost every loss they had. It is encouraging that they're playing better. They seem to be more of a competent team. They're not getting completely obliterated on special teams. The offense is competent, if not good. And so there are encouraging signs. But, no, Florida State fans should never just be okay with almost beating Virginia. Never, ever, ever. But you also have to realize where you are. That's what the reality of this program is, man. It's not a winning program right now. They went 5-7. They were 3-6 the year before that. That's what this program is right now. So you got to take little baby steps. It's certainly apparently not going to be one huge leap. So you're hoping that maybe Saturday night in Charlottesville was a little tiny baby step, and then maybe against Louisville will be another little tiny baby step. So that's where you're at right now. You can't expect one big leap back to relevance because apparently that's just not happening.
Next question comes from Conway T4811. One thing that I wanted to mention that really bothers me: why can't these defensive linemen get their hands up in the air while rushing the passer? He says he's seen numerous plays where this could have really helped things out, but they seem focused on only getting to the quarterback for the sack. Also, references discipline in the secondary, a play that I don't remember, but apparently Asante Samuel kind of left the guy and ran to the whole other side of the field to track down Bryce Perkins while he was scrambling, and apparently the pass was completed to that receiver. Will they get this stuff fixed? Do you believe now that Levitt can help with game planning, that we see an improvement here because Barnett can coach them up more? Aslan, please, another Ed O for me. I'll try maybe later. Yeah, man, I think Levitt.
Are you going to do that later?
Levitt's going to pay dividends. I really think so. And again, I think that's why this is going to last for a few more years. So, yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't know if that's one of the things he's going to key in on, but overall, the game planning, they were able to stop the run fairly well. So, yeah, I mean, it's, I feel good about it.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they don't ever bat any balls down, ever. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can't bring Kendo into it now because he's out for the year. But, I mean, my dude's 6'7". Can't ever deflect a pass. I know sometimes he was back in coverage, but when he would rush, he can't get his hands up, ever. Florida State's never been great about that, really. I think Bjorn Werner was a guy that would do it a lot, if I remember correctly. I think he would bat balls in the air. But other than that, you don't really think of a lot of defensive linemen that were good at that. Lost art, much like the mid-range jumper.
Yeah. Maxwell Gibbs, wake up. I don't know what's more confusing, that this could be 3-0 or that it should be 0-3. I'm really getting sick of Willie saying personal foul penalties are, quote, selfish, yet he won't take these kids out of the freaking ball game. He typed that in all caps. That wasn't me. My wife and I were watching the game. She made this comment. She said, I hate to even say this, but this is almost becoming comical at this point. So I ask you both this. Is it comical at this point? I don't think so. It's not good, but it's not horrendously, embarrassingly 2016 Louisville rolling down the field down your throat bad. It's frustratingly bad. That's the problem. If it was comical, there would be like a house cleaning, and there really would be big, long solutions, big ideas to shake everything up. But no, I don't think it's comically bad. It's just bad.
I don't think that game was comically bad. I think if you were a non-Florida State fan looking at this program, you would be laughing a lot at what you see. Not just the week-to-week Saturday, what happens on Saturday, but, you have your head coach, saying that they're not hydrated enough. You have the head coach then saying, I don't call the plays, Kendall calls the plays. You have how that game ended on Saturday night with the number one, you have the missed extra point in overtime and that celebration. And then you have how the game ended against Virginia. Plus, you have one of the local media outlets writing a story about a dad making his kid make a lemonade stand to buy out Willie's contract, like for the buyout. Like all of this put together, Florida State is a punchline. It's sad to say, man. You know, I've been covering this program for 12 years. I've been going to games since I was 7. Right now, it is a punchline. And it's up to this staff and these players to not be the butt of everybody's joke. But it seems like every week there's something else. Not just on the field, but you have the hydration. You have the 154 days till kickoff from the football Twitter. It's like everything. It's like it just can't get out of its own way right now. All the way back to the MLK nonsense with that ridiculous graphic. It's nothing but punchlines. You're a punching bag right now. I hate to say it, but people around the country are making fun of Florida State, and a lot of that has to do with how good Florida State's been for 4 decades. But a lot of it is self-inflicted. And stop it. Stop having ridiculous penalties. Stop leading the country in penalties. Stop looking like you do in defense in every fourth quarter you play. And maybe people will stop. Maybe it won't be so comical. But, yes, I would describe Florida State football right now is kind of comical. You're always wondering what the next shoe is going to drop, what the next punchline is going to be. Because they seemingly come every 3 or 4 days. Fair or unfair there, Aslan?
Damn, Corey. Man, what's your problem?
Right.
What's your problem?
Hey, he asked about comical, and I'm like, well, yeah. Plus, trust me, I have a bunch of friends that aren't Florida State fans, and I get a whole bunch of texts with a bunch of LOLs. So that's where it is right now. It can change, but right now you're the butt of jokes. People love kicking the bully when they're down, and right now Florida State's down, and it doesn't help that every week it seems the head coach. Somebody has to come over the top and explain what the head coach really meant in a post-game press conference or on his talk show. And then, you had the way it ended Saturday night with all those personal fouls, the meltdown, and then the play at the end. Not spiking it. Which, again, you can agree or disagree, but that's how this thing is. That's what it looks like right now to outsiders. Got to get better. We're all rooting for it to get better.
By the way, the folks that are they couldn't spike the ball. There's only 1 second left on the clock. We get that. But if you run up to the line, there's 4 seconds when they spot the ball. So you could have.
You can't spike it with 1 second left, and you're in the shotgun. Yeah. Who spikes it out of the shotgun?
Right.
No, the whole deal is, okay, he caught it with 7 seconds left. Rush your butt up to the line and spike it. And even though the clock guy, there was a clock malfunction, I do think they would have reviewed it if Taggart would have complained. If say, they would have tried to go and spike it and the clock had run out, I do think they would have reviewed it because they lost 2 seconds in the transfer because the guy didn't stop the clock after the first down. But, yes, if you wanted – it wasn't like they ran up to spike it and then we're like, oh, no, we only got a second left, we got to snap it. It never dawned on them to spike it. And, again, I'm not saying that that's the right call or the wrong call, but to the outsiders, especially when the play looks that bad, and at least a couple of the guys on the field didn't know what they were supposed to be doing on that play, dumb, preposterous. Spike it then. Or coach it better during the week so they know what to do in a spot like that.
Maxwell asks what's going on with DJ Matthews. He's returned to practice. Apparently he might have missed a day of that. Why the hell has Tommy Martin, or where has he been, or why has he been behind Logan Tyler? I know it's only a 2-game sample size, but he's kicked more consistently than it appears Logan ever did. Well, I'm sure I think it's kind of like in the NFL where you have to play the draft pick at some point, kind of sooner than later, just because you've invested all this money in him and you want to see how he looks. I think when you have a scholarship guy and they're probably pretty even in practice, like to be a walk-on and take a scholarship player's job, you've got to be Jameis to the scholarships J.J. Cosentino, right? That's the only way. Like you got to be that far head and shoulders above somebody to take their job as a walk-on.
Yeah, maybe not to that degree, but yeah, maybe like a Jameis to a, Clint Trickett.
Okay.
Jameis to JJ, that's just not fair. But yeah, maybe, you've got to really go out and win it because obviously they have much more invested in the kid that's on scholarship. They recruited him. There's money there. Excuse me. So yeah, but I don't quite understand like the kickoff kid, my man Grotehouse. That stuff's he's the real story. Martin, well, no, I shouldn't say that. Martin's been really good too. And Martin had that huge punt in the Louisiana Monroe game, which it pains me and it breaks my heart that I have to utter a sentence that says that huge punt in the Louisiana Monroe game. It pains me. I don't like where I'm at right now. I don't know why I'm in such a crabby mood, but it's like it's bothered me now. Like it's kind of been not cute, but I've just been kind of it's acceptance. I've had acceptance that okay, I really enjoyed 2012 to 2014. I've seen a lot of great players come through Florida State, covered a lot of wins and some great teams and some championships. Now I'm kind of a realist and a pragmatist and be like, okay, this is where this program is. It's not going to be rebuilt overnight. But now it's just like, okay, man, and it goes back to 17, 3 straight years. And, could be, who knows where this season's going. It's tiring. I'm ready for the wins to return, and I'm ready to cover a good program again. And I don't know why it's hit me today like this, but it has.
Also,
but yeah, great punt against Louisiana Monroe. I'm going to write a story about those two kids because they came and they came and talked to the media on Wednesday. Tommy Martin and Grodehouse. And it's like, I'm going to write about those. I don't really like to do that necessarily, but it's like, well, there aren't too many great feel-good stories on this team. At least those two kids are some kids you can feel good about.
I have a question about that, but for another day because we're already at 21 minutes and we have a whole bunch of more questions. Maxwell Gibbs also adds that Saturday he will not be watching live. I've decided to go do community service with my wife. We're going to be helping out high school seniors with their college applications. That's awesome.
Oh.
Seriously, good job, man. It's fantastic, Maxwell. 85 Noel, Willie Taggart in 2021. Steve Robinson or Leonard Hamilton? I don't quite get that.
Yeah, no, he's saying like, is it going to be
Renaissance?
Is he going to turn this thing into what Leonard Hamilton turned it into, or is he going to be a Steve Robinson where it just continues to get worse?
How can you? Here's if I can get on a soapbox. How can you not be successful here if you're going to have 7 figures to throw at coordinators? Nobody else in this entire conference has that luxury except for the national champs, and you are located in Florida, so you have a recruiting edge over them and everybody else in the conference. And you're going to be able to throw 7 figures at whatever coordinator you want, practically, and you just have to convince them that the check's going to clear. Because anybody will jump at that because it's Florida State still. And even if it doesn't work out for Willie, then you're an interim coach or you're still going to collect all this money when they buy you out.
Well, I wouldn't say I believe that necessarily. I think they're fine coaches, but I don't know that I necessarily think it's an automatic you're going to win 10 games. You're going to be a lot better. It's more of a sure thing going into 2020. If Levitt is on one side and Browse is on the other, that's a real sure thing. But there's more to running a program than just calling plays, as we see at the guy with Clemson. I wouldn't just dismiss what Willie Taggart would do as a head coach with really good coordinators, just like I used to, because that's what I used to do with Dabo. I'm like, yeah, man, anybody can coach when you got Venables and Chad Morris or Venables and whoever else. Like it's like great. They're buying all these top-notch assistants because they know the head coach can't coach. Well, you know what the head coach did? He took care of everything else. He built that thing, and he somehow infused it with this culture that they love the guy, and they play so hard for him, and I've talked about it ad nauseum. That's what Willie Taggart's job will be. Those two guys handle the X's and O's on both sides. He's a delegator, that's fine, but he controls the message. It's his program, and he's got to figure that out. He's got to be the CEO like you talk about. It'd be a good one, and coaches, and all that stuff that Bowden used to say. But I don't think it's just necessarily one of us could go in there and do it. Like these kids, when they come to play at Florida State, I know they need to know who their position coaches are, and they need to know what their coordinators are, but they're also coming for that head coach. And if they believe in his mission and his message. And that's where Willie Taggart has a chance to really prove himself, even if he's not necessarily calling plays.
I just think that if you're having to take all these steps to ensure that you're going to be respectable, then do you have the right guy? And I guess that goes back to your thing you're talking about Dabo. They threw all that money to put coordinators around him. I think they believe in Dabo's approach. They believe in his vision. I still don't really know.
Yes, I agree. I see what you're saying. You're throwing all these really expensive Band-Aids on what might be a gaping bullet wound, yes. And they're not going to do any good in the long run. I get that, but it also might be a superficial wound, and you Band-Aids heal it up. And there is a chance, man, I am telling you. I know most people don't believe it. They don't want to hear it. If this thing does get rolling a little bit, he is going to recruit really, really, really well. But that's a big if. And so it's always going to be. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, man. The more I think about it, unless things just go completely off the rails, you're looking at Taggart 2020. But Taggart in 2020 with Levitt and Briles, no Akers or Terry or Wilson, you might win 9 games, maybe, hopefully. And then does that not portend to maybe getting something rolling?
Well, he gets 2021. If he wins 9 games in 2020, he gets 2021. My whole thing is he's going to get to 2021. Yeah. I mean, yeah, here we are.
But they might be. I mean, it's good, right? You want your team to win 9 games.
Yeah, Florida State, man, sign me up. That's awesome.
Hey,
John,
are you not watching the team we have to watch now? I would do cartwheels to Macon if I could cover a 9-win team again.
John Henry Jones Jr. Have you noticed the clock not stopping as long as it used to, or not stopping at all after a first down? Apparently, some other folks have said this is happening. Do you think that's happening, bad clock operators, or are we just paranoid?
Like just in college football in general?
Yeah.
I have it, but I don't watch it a lot. So yeah, I haven't. So I can't say that I've noticed that. I did notice it Saturday night in Charlottesville. That bad boy ticked off a couple extra seconds.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a good amount of football last Saturday, thanks to being on the road, or Florida State being on the road. I did not notice anything too egregious, but if John Henry Jones Jr. says other people have said it so, then I'll take him at his word. I'll keep an eye out on it. It's an inexact science. It's all an inexact science. Knowles Q. Oh, this is some optimism. Here we go, everybody. Drink it in. Let it into your veins. Considering 2017 and 2018, going on the road and beating a top 25 team should have been thought of as almost impossible, yet we almost won. In 2017, the road record was 3-2 with wins at Wake, Duke, and Florida. Barely beat Wake and Duke. We beat a bad UF team, got blown out by Boston College. Keep in mind, this is coming off a road loss in 16 to Louisville. In 2018, 1-4 on the road, got blasted. Considering the road performances in 2017 and 18, we had no business even being in a game on the road versus a ranked team. Really close against Boise, really close against Virginia. If this team keeps on pushing, they'll eventually break through and win one of these games.
Yeah, I think the problem there is you don't want them to win just one of these games. You want them to start stacking wins, and it's great to be positive, but no, I would not think that they were a 7-point underdog. They weren't a 30-point underdog. It was a nice step, not from last year. I don't care about 17 anymore, and not really even. It wasn't a nice step up from last year because that was last year. We were told they had left that in the past. We're only concentrating on 2019 now. 2018 doesn't matter. And there have been a myriad of examples of teams in their second year taking big jumps. So I don't want to – it's not a step up from last year to think that. It was a step up from Game 2. That, to me, was the encouraging sign, is how much better they were in Game 3 than they were in Game 2. But Game 2 was so discouraging, I feel like we're just back to square one. I don't think you should ever be – in the second year of a tenure saying we had no business being in a close game against Virginia. I watched that Virginia team. That ain't a great team. That's a bowl team. It's an 8-win team. It's not somebody that should ever steamroll Florida State or think you can't compete with them, because there's too much talent on Florida State's roster to just assume you can't go into Virginia and play well and win a game, or at least keep it close. I don't think that's where this program is. It's certainly not what we were told this program was back in August. So no, I don't. I appreciate the positivity, like I said, but I don't think you can look at it as they shouldn't have. You should feel good to just be in a close game with them. You need to start winning these games.
I love the backhanded sort of compliments of a bad Florida team. Do you think people of Florida talk about Tim Tebow beating a bad Florida State team, or do you think they talk about Tim Tebow embarrassing Florida State? But our fan base, when it comes to stuff that involves the other coach, we'll find creative ways of diminishing it. I love it. It's a beautiful thing. Georgia 2OK_Knoll. Wake up. First
It
post
was
on the
a bad
Renegade
Florida team, though.
What's that?
It was a bad Florida team.
Yeah.
But it was, you know what else, Aslan?
What
It
else?
was a bad Florida State team. Yeah. And if the battle of two bad teams, you certainly want to come out on top, and that's what the Noles did that day.
Yeah, well, we can lose to a good Florida team in Gainesville this year. I'll take solace there. We can build off that going into 2020.
I don't think that'll feel any better.
Yeah. Georgia 2 OK Noel says full youth movement on the defense. McCray, Glenn, says Josh Brown, although Josh Brown is like a fifth-year senior, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's
not young, I know that.
Yeah, he wants to see Green, Dent, Gant put Woodby back at safety. There's been much improvement over the last year, but at some point we have to start playing a full game. Andre KP Grant also says, can one of you guys ask any coach why Dontavius Jackson is still playing, let alone starting? So I guess we can lasso these two linebacker defensive questions into one. I'll give them, what? I guess, put Kevon Green out there, put Jaleel McCray out there. What could go wrong? Two-play drive. Will they blow their assignments that bad? I don't know. It's the machinations. It's the habits, the sort of the playbook, textbook stuff you do as a coach. You play the experienced guys. You know what you have in them. Granted, they didn't recruit these guys. Granted, they haven't coached with them for 4 years. But I don't know. Maybe they feel Dontavius is more physically prepared to take on a block than Kevon Glenn. I don't know. I understand it's maddening. It's the thing you do as a fan when you notice things are going wrong is why don't they put this guy in that's highly touted? But as much as we second guess these coaches, like when it comes to personnel, usually they know what they're doing, even if they're not executing right.
Well, and I can tell you this much. I don't expect Renardo Green to play, at least in the first half against Louisville. He ain't going to be there. I get it. I get it from the coach's side, too. They're coaching for their jobs. You know what I mean? Especially the guy that's coaching the defense is literally coaching for his job. And maybe he's worried that if he throws the young guys in there, it can get really, really ugly. It's hard to imagine it could get worse, but it could. That as much as you can build on how they played the run defense, how they played physically up front in that game, that was easily their best game up front, in the way they rallied to the ball and tackled in the running game. The pass defense was so abysmal that it's hard to even think, what would it matter? If they're coached to play a zone like that, what does it matter who you put in the game? You could have Jalen Ramsey, Deion Sanders, Ronald Darby, and P.J. Williams as your four DBs, or LaMarcus Joyner. It would not matter if they're coached to play 5 or 8 yards off a guy catching the ball 8 yards downfield and just giving them huge holes. Derek Brooks could be running around instead of DeKalen. It wouldn't matter. Coach it up better.
All right. Gotcha.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Sorry. Again, that bothers. It's what Bomani Jones says about the Syracuse basketball team. It's like, man, zone is for cowards, and I don't think zone defense, and he's talking about college basketball, obviously, because you can't play man to man, you have to zone it up, and I don't think zone is for cowards when it comes to football, but that zone is a cowardly zone. It is. It's just like, we don't want you to get a big play on us, so we're going to back up into the parking lot and just run forward every time you catch it, and maybe you'll drop it so we can wave our hands incomplete. Get up on people. And if they make a play by you and they beat you with a long pass, well, you know what? At least your offense gets the ball back quicker, and you can get off the field instead of being tired in the fourth quarter because you've just given up another 13-play drive. At least it'll be a 2-play drive, and you can go rest. If you're going to give up if it's inevitable anyway, at least give up the touchdown quickly and then get back to the bench.
Tommy Hawk Chop, wake up! Haven't posted in a few weeks. Basically, the gist of his question, why do people feel that the offense needs to slow down? Browse is doing what we hired him to do to mask offensive deficiencies and score points. Check and check. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why people seem to want things to slow down. To be honest with you, I don't think a lot of folks do. I think that might have been kind of a rhetorical suggestion by a few people, and now it's actually been posed to the question. The question's been posed to not only Kendall but also Willie. Maybe it's because there's a little bit of discrepancy in their answers. Willie says kind of, I want to hold on to the ball more. Kendall says, we just got to worry about executing better. And again, like he's not, the problems for the offense in his mind is not lack of possession. It's just they're not executing the plays properly. And I'm sure Willie feels the same way, but I think somewhere in there, Willie thinks maybe if we just have the ball, we hold on to it a little bit longer, better things will happen. So maybe that's why people keep talking about it. But I think maybe less than 10% of the fan base really thinks that that's a sort of viable solution.
Yeah, no, and I would say it's about that. And, we've talked about it a lot on here, and we've written about it. The main reason the defense gives up a lot of points and yards is because the defense isn't any good. Now, you are giving other opponents more at-bats because you go so fast. So eventually, even if the defense gets lucky, or not even lucky, plays well for a quarter and a half or 2 quarters, eventually it's going to rise to the surface, the mediocrity, and they're going to give up points and yards, especially their late in games. It's incredible how bad they are late in games. But, yeah, your only chance to really score is to go fast. I think they're 130th in the country in time of possession, and like right now it's one of the worst time of possessions in the history of college football. So maybe that's not quite ideal when you have a bad defense, but part of that is also the defense. Like the defense needs to get off the field, get some third down stops, and quit giving up 13-play drives because you play that stupid. Here I go again. I'm back into my zone talk, the cowardly zone. But get off the field, make some stops. And I do think, and Kendall talked about it on Tuesday, that, they got to do some things. At least I read between the lines, and this was what he was talking about. With that offensive line, they know they have some limitations. So they have to help them out with some pace and some tempo, because that's the best way to keep an offensive line on its heels and tired, and that helps your offensive line, and it hurts the defensive line, is to go fast. That's the whole trick to the thing. So that's why they do it. And if they slowed it down and snapped it every 27 seconds, well, man, that defensive line would start to really own that offensive line, I think. And Kendall knows that. So you can't argue with the results, right? They're scoring. The defense is allowed to stop people.
Let's take a break.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Knolls since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Welcome back to Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. Heartland Knoll 27 continues us on the Renegade Express, brought to you by First Commerce Financial. It seems as though the read option handoffs take forever, allows the defense to get into the backfield, is doing more straight-up snaps to run or pass without the read option, something that could come into play. Also, pretty good success rate with routes across the middle to Harrison and Helton. Why not increase these to open up things on the perimeter? I'm not going to second-guess a lot of what Kendall's doing right now. Guys are running open. James is missing throws. James has missed a couple of reads. I don't have a lot of qualms about what he's doing. The RPO is obviously a huge backbone to the success that they do enjoy. I mean, maybe just some more straight-up passes and runs, sure. But yeah, I don't have a lot to really second-guess him on right now. I don't see bad runs because slow developing mesh handoff and then things like that. So either the offensive line is getting whooped, or that's pretty much what is causing these plays to slow down, at least in the run game.
Yeah, and I also think when you talk about those passes over the middle and calling those passes over the middle, well, a lot of those are RPOs. And the reason that it's such a slow mesh point sometimes is because Blackman has to look downfield to see if those plays are open, and then he pulls it out and throws it. So, that's one of the reasons they work pretty well, is because the linebackers get sucked in thinking it's a run, and that opens up the seam behind them. And you're also having your quarterback look downfield to see if his primary target is open so he can pull it out. And there's a lot that goes into it. But overall, yeah, I think for the most part they've done pretty darn well with it. And again, I don't say it enough. we don't talk about it enough, but Cam Akers is an awesome football player. So he's fun to watch run. And, maybe a few more direct snaps to him.
_A_Ermy Knoll. I think it's supposed to be Army Knoll. This question comes from Daegu, South Korea, apparently.
All right.
Can you ask, quote, given Blackman's poor performance late in games, is the coaching staff at least considering giving Hornibrook a chance? I will not.
Where do you think
question.
how much further ahead is South Korea than us? Like, what time does my man have to get up? I assume it's a man. I shouldn't.
It is.
What time
There's
does
a
our
photo of him.
Oh, it is?
It's a man. You're good.
Okay, what time does he have to get up to watch Florida State football on like that Virginia game? Was that I wonder if that was 6 a.m. he had to get up for that.
They are 13 hours ahead of us. So he was up at 7 in the morning on Sunday, or 8 in the morning on Sunday in South Korea to watch.
Can you imagine that, getting up at 8 in the morning on a Sunday to watch your favorite college football team?
Well, think about all the Florida State fans on the West Coast that have to watch, from Tally to Cali, brother. We got some folks out there.
I know, buddy, but at 9 a.m. they're getting up for that.
Well, they got a pregame a little bit. They're getting up at 8 o'clock to get a little bit of watch some game day before the noon kickoff.
That would be pretty cool, actually, to be to live in California, and especially for the NFL games.
Yeah,
you get up at whatever you get up, even if you 9:15, you're like, oh man. If you wake up at 9:15 on a Sunday here, golly, I got to wait 3.5 hours for this. But no, you're right. You get some coffee, get you an egg, and then the football's starting. That's beautiful. 10 a.m. football? You kidding me? Good stuff.
Go.
I don't even remember his question, and we should answer it because he's in South Korea.
He wants us to ask Blackman's poor performance
about
late
Hornibrook.
game. Yeah, Hornibrook in a shot.
I think it was the way Bryles talked about Blackman on Tuesday. I think it was purposeful. That, hey, fans, I know you might be thinking that there should be a change made, but just so you know, I think James played really well, and I'm really pleased with his performance. Now, he didn't play his best game. These were Bryles' words.
Right.
He'd be the first to tell you that. But overall, I think he's playing really well. That was basically we haven't really thought about making a change.
Also, last time he said that about somebody, the sort of quasi-compliment of didn't play his best game, was he said that about Cam Akers after Boise, and we all remember what Cam did against the Warhawks. They wrote songs about it.
The Warhawks sure remember.
Yeah, Monroe remembers. They sing songs about Cam Akers now.
They ain't never going to forget what Cam Akers did to them.
Oh, buckle up for this one, Corey. ODC Harvey, wake up! Looking at the remaining schedule, considering the glimpses of good play we've seen, especially against Virginia, what's the over-under FSU finishes the season 8-1? Is it completely ridiculous to believe that's a possibility or insane to have that much hope?
It's the same thing there. Yes, I think that's insane. I don't want to call you insane. You seem like a very positive person, but I can't imagine. No, they can't go 8-1. Not with that defense. I don't care if Leavitt might be the defense whisperer. He's not going to turn that defense into something good enough to be 8-1 over them. They're not easy games. Literally, Louisville is the second easiest game they have left on their schedule, and they're a 7-point favorite. So all these other games are going to be, at best, you're a coin flip. Yeah. So you're not. It just would be really, really lucky, in my opinion, if you can somehow win all of your coin flips. It's cool that they're coin flips now, as opposed to last year when they were just, just face stomps. At least now they're coin flips. You got a chance, but no, I would think no. It's a long way of saying no. I can't imagine they go 8-1. And yes, you are insane, but I still love you. What do you think, Aslan?
I think NC State is easier. I think Louisville's a trickier game. I think Louisville's...
Here's a better question. I got a better question. I know I interrupted you, but I don't care. Better chance for Florida State to go 1-8 the rest of the way, or 8-1?
Oh my gosh, 1-8.
Yeah. I'm sad. I think that's probably true.
I don't know. Why would you ask me that? We're trying to get the show over with, and then you make me answer something
right.
That's cynical, and then everyone gets upset.
Sorry.
none of this is part of the plan, everybody. Like, this could all work out. It really could. This isn't me hedging. This could all work out. Nobody can tell me any of this is part of the plan. You know, like Willie's 8 steps, his wooden triangle for success, none of it includes going 5-7 and ending a bowl streak and then blowing second-half leads in the first 3 games of year number 2. So, like, I understand, like, everyone wants to hope this is going to turn around. It very well could. And you can all laugh at me and say that I was negative 3 years from now. But right now, like, the evidence, and not even so much evidence, but none of this is part of the plan. None of it is. So that's where the frustration kind of comes from. The people want you to kind of just, you know, just think positive. It's all going to work out. None of this is part of the plan. None of it is.
Let me throw something at you, though. I only bring this up. I only say it because I'm sure there's some overlap, and some people listen to headlines and this show, but I know you don't. But Ira brought up the point about Jimbo in 2012 and how after that season, he lost 6 assistant coaches.
Right.
Yeah. 6. And a lot of those players were really, really upset with him because they thought they should have been undefeated. And they were really mad about the NC State and Florida losses, NC State in particular. And I wouldn't say he lost that locker room, obviously, but there were some really upset kids on that football team. Coming on the heels of the 2011 season when they lost 3 straight games and lost to Virginia at the end of the year and the horrible Wake loss, that wasn't part of the plan either. And then all of a sudden, holy moly, like things can change. It doesn't mean it's likely or probable, but things can change, and not everything works out perfectly as soon as you get to a place. And Jimbo even had a head start. After year 3, right, 10, 11, 12, he basically did a hard reset and had to go hire 5 or 6 new coaches. And they were, you know, some of them were really, really good hires, and, you know, obviously that quarterback helped. But, you know, things can change, and just because it doesn't start out great doesn't mean it can't end up that way. But no, quite obviously, the plan wasn't this. There's been a lot of swings and misses so far, but he's still got a bat in his hand, and he's still got some at-bats left. And maybe it turns around. That's what I tell Brady all the time, buddy. Can't worry about the last strikeout. You got to dig in the plate and say you're going to knock this one out of the park.
Jimbo, I would defend you, but we are nearing the hour mark of the show, and
we can't do it. Yeah, we can't do it. We all know where we stand, right?
It's nearly midnight.
And plus, Brady, you know I love you.
I've got to wake up, and I've got to go to practice again. Can't wait. National Champs 99. Do you guys have Seminole underwear? If so, boxers or briefs? I have neither. I will speak for Corey. He has neither. Well, then FSU 73. I really did not expect the season to go this way, but what do you think the best case scenario is when it comes to wins and losses, and do you honestly see Willie bringing Harlan back to run the defense next season? I probably should have read this before I read it out loud because we've kind of talked about it. Best case this season, 7-5?
Yeah, right now. I mean, you've lost 2 games that you could have won, which is a bit of a bummer. Like we thought 8-4 was about the max anyway, right? Maybe 9, but probably 8.
Yeah.
And that wasn't assuming they would blow 2 leads in the fourth quarter of games they really could have won. Should have won, maybe. You know, they were dominating the Boise. You're up 21-3. You can't lose that game at home. So I think now, 6 or 7 is the absolute best.
Can I give you some optimism here? And honestly, do we see Willie bringing Harlan back to run the defense? No. Unless it's some sort of quasi, again, like just in a de facto co-defensive coordinator, but he really just, just coached the secondary. I mean, if you really think about it, be honest here, being sincere, this team's played, let's throw the Louisiana Monroe game away, I guess to a certain extent. Let's talk about Boise and Virginia. They played 2 good teams, decent teams, ranked teams, and they played pretty good for 6 out of the 8 quarters. So maybe it's not that tough to change this around. You just got to play better in one of the quarters. I mean, not to simplify, not to sound like some insincere jerk, because I'm not trying to be that way, but maybe we're not as far away as we like to think we are.
Yeah, I just hate that it's so. I would agree with you, except for that game in the middle. That was the one that angered everyone the most, and it's hard to just forget that game happened because that was an embarrassment.
But we won.
That's by far been the biggest embarrassment of the season so far.
It's crazy how that game is talked. I mean, that game is a loss. Like no one even.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing. Deb Knoll, first of all, love the podcast. I'm a regular listener. Two things. Corey, not all of us have bailed on Willie or this team. Complainers and whiners are just taking up most of the oxygen. The adults in the room have more patience and are more in the Ira article camp. Thank you, Ira. We just don't waste as much time trying to state our case in this or other social media forums. Please remember this going forward. Aslan, cheer up, get a grip. You have a dream job. We are all challenged when our team struggles. I'm sure if you dig deep, you're up to it.
Absolutely. You do have a dream job, man. I know that getting up early isn't great, but we both have cool jobs.
We do.
I mean, I know I was just lamenting the fact that, I was being a big baby and complaining that I don't get to cover a winning football program anymore. But, yeah, man, we both have really cool jobs. And, yeah, I agree mostly with Ira's take.
What was Ira's? Ira's take was we can't judge him yet.
Yeah,
but we
that's
can,
true.
But we kind of can't.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't. You can't. I mean, you can if you want to, but what good does it do? You think he's going to be fired after this week? No. And things turn around. People change. People get better. Jobs get better. Dabo was judged a whole lot. And I know he ain't Dabo, but you can still keep bringing that up. Like, think of all the people that wanted Dabo gone. He was judged even more harshly maybe than Willie was. Probably not, but somewhere near there. And Clemson fans were incredulous when he got that extension. When he got retained after the 10 season, after getting low raced by South Carolina. And, so things can change. So, yeah, we can – the jury is still out, is all I'm saying. Again, they might be wrapping up. Who knows? I tell you what, this is a huge week for him. It's a huge week for him.
Corey, you said that last week, and they lost. And here we are. I mean, what are we doing?
But I did say it with but you know how I said it. You said I thought they were going to get blown out. They didn't. I said if they won, it was a huge week, and if they got blown out, it would tell us everything we need to know about this season. But neither happened. So then we just kicked the can down the road to these two games. Yeah. If they look bad on Saturday and lose to a guy that's in his fourth game after having taken over a program in worse shape than the one Willie Taggart took over last year, and he loses to that guy at home to go 1-3 and 6-10 in his first 16, yeah, man, that's real pit of despair type stuff.
No, it's not. What happens if they look good in losing? Like, what if Louisville scores on the last?
No, you can't look good and lose to Louisville.
We just did last week. We can do it again.
Nope.
What if Louisville?
No, Louisville ain't Virginia.
What if they do a blatant offensive pass interference to score a game-winning touchdown with zeros on the clock? Like,
shouldn't have been that close. Shouldn't have been that close. Should have come down to the final play.
I don't know.
Can't lose to Louisville at home. Can't lose. Louisville was 2-10 last year. You want to talk about a toxic locker room? Holy moly! And they're going to come down and they're in that guy's fourth game and go to improve to 3-1 and beat you at home when you've had a year and a half jump on him with better players. How do you sell that to the fans?
It doesn't matter. They're still here. You just heard Deb.
Well, yeah, sure, but again, I think that becomes a really, really hard sell because people are going to rightly say, "Well, how is Louisville beating us in this guy's fourth game when you've been here for 18?"
Well,
how's that possible?
Because Jimbo left it bad, worse than Bobby Petrino.
No, he didn't. That's the shit. That's the problem. That's the one when you could be like, "Well, it wasn't in that bad a shape." But you know what? We're talking about nonsense. This is a hypothetical that we don't have to worry our hearts about. Because Florida State's going to win and win big.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I think this game, this is tricky. This is real tricky. We'll get into it more tomorrow.
They're all tricky.
Renegade 1997 basically agrees with you. The soft stuff is just it's got to go. Preventing the big play is allowing them to make a lot of little plays. Perkins was 16 for 16 at one point. Also stands with Briles. Tempo is a must. Get over it, everybody, kind of, he says.
Right.
His favorite Zaxby's dish is the Zaxby's Blue Salad with the blackened chicken. Thank you, gentlemen, for an excellent show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Renegade.
I haven't had that one. Have you had that one?
I had the Cajun. I think the Cajun black and blue thing I had was kind of from that same family, but not. I think I had a little more gusto to it.
More gusto. All right, that's good.
Georgia Knowles 86. People are not giving Willie a fair shot this season. He also says, "Wake up." He's asking me a question that I can't answer, and but we can maybe bat this around for 35 seconds. Would Jimbo receive this much backlash if he was still at FSU and they were going through this? Absolutely.
If Jimbo was in year 3 of this, like at 3 years of post-Dalvin malaise like this, absolutely. Yeah. And it would be ugly. It was ugly. It was ugly in 17, and he had just gone to the Orange Bowl the year before. Now that had a lot to do with things behind the scenes, but still, it was. Yes, I think Jimbo would be getting this kind of. Yes, people would be thinking it might be time to buy him out, and thinking that it might be time for a new coach. But he also has a little bit more goodwill built up, right? I think we can all agree on that because of the championships and whatnot. So yes, he would be any coach at Florida State throughout their history of time from here on out. It goes. What are we now? 6-9 in a 15-game stretch is going to be receiving a lot of negativity. That's just how it is here, man. That's how it should be. You don't have to punt on them. We're not saying you should punt on them or give up on them necessarily. But 6-9 in a 15-game stretch is something that's really hard for Florida State fans to stomach.
Get down black. What up, guys? I'm feeling good about this game. I really hope this is the nickel or dime upfront package. J. Rob Durden, Marvin Gaynor, and then you got Woodby, Samuels III, Fagan, Becker, Dent, and Samuels. I really want to see Dent at cornerback at some point. My prediction, FSU 29-17, defense going to play a complete game. They will give up 2 touchdowns before the 4th. They will only surrender a field goal in the 4th quarter. What do you think?
All right, well, that would be something if they only give up a field goal in the 4th and won kind of comfortably. A 12-point win. That'd be good. Yay. Again, another encouraging sign. Yeah. Nice mature win against a team you're better than, you should beat, and you beat them, you cover the spread. That'd be a nice sign. Right. I don't know about Becker. I think Taylor's going to be playing. I think Levante is going to be playing a good bit on Saturday. I don't know about Carlos Becker being out there that much. I do think Gaynor should be out there a bunch.
Noel Holla, Jive Turkey 64, Leon Noel 12, Big Steve-O 22, B Van 30, Garnet and Gomez, Andrew, you came back, you already asked a question. North Virginia Noel, Ira Brofell. We'll figure something out, and we'll maybe get to these questions on tomorrow's show, or maybe I will just hop into the thread and answer it with the written word. Because
nobody wants that. Well, just save it for tomorrow, Aslan. Just save them for tomorrow. People love this stuff. It's a Renegade Express Part 2.
He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Get a good night's sleep, everybody.
Unlike fanny packs, bowl cuts, and troll dolls, the sensation is back, only at Zaxby's. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich features hand-breaded chicken, Asian slaw, wonton strips, and citrus vinaigrette, and both are served with an egg roll. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich meal, for a limited time, only at Zaxby's. And skip the line when you order ahead on the Zaxby's app or on Zaxby's.com.